Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another show. My name is Tyler, and I'm here with Matt, the founder of ORATS. ORATS is an options analytics platform built on top of over 15 years of historical options data. Our dashboard is integrated with Tradier, meaning you can research and discover trades on our platform and then seamlessly send them through to your Tradier brokerage account. Today on the show, we're going to be discussing how to build an options research agent using the ORATS CLI. I'll be sharing my screen today and walking through how I use Claude with the ORATS CLI. All right, I think, do you see everything, Matt?
Not yet. I think you have to, yeah, there you go.
Okay. All right. Yeah, so I just have a blank terminal screen up here. Well, I guess let's first walk through what the ORATS CLI is. So a CLI stands for Command Line Interface, which you can launch from your terminal, and that's what I'll be doing today. And the reason we built this is so that you can connect an AI trading agent or just an AI agent like Claude to the ORATS API to turn it into a trading agent. So it's really exciting because you can ask your agent questions in natural language, like replay some historical event in real time and figure out what happened. And it can go and query minute by minute historical data. It can query live data. It can query the implied earnings move and compare it to the historical earnings move. So it can go through lots of different granularities and kind of do a lot of analysis for you. So this is some demos we have here on the website that we'll be going through real time today.
Yeah, Tyler. So, I mean, that's all great, but like we've installed it. Like, so the hard part, the easy part is to ask it. The hard part, I think, is to get it installed. And so we've worked very hard on getting a very good instruction blog for you guys to be able to load this. And
exactly.
And we're coming out with even more easier videos. Otto is going to do a whole one on getting started and what to ask it. So you could, if I could do it, you could do it. It took me.
We got it.
Yeah.
We got it installed on Matt's machine, and that blog post will get published later today, so you guys will see that full guide. It walks you through how to install anything you need on your machine that you might not already have in order to get this running, and then points you in the right direction with Claude and everything like that. So
let's just compare this to like Otto or our AI help agents in our dashboard product. So so CLI is a lot different. So we have Otto, and Otto has, especially if you log in on the, this is the website that Tyler's showing you now. And then it's like different levels. So like we could give it a certain amount of information here, but because of exchange regulations, we could only show so much data here. And then when you go to your dashboard, we could show more data here. But with the CLI knows your data permissions. Is that correct, Tyler?
That's correct. Yeah. So the CLI, you supply the CLI with a token. You provide it with the token, an API token that you'd get from the ORATS website, like you would normally, and then you give it to the CLI, and then it knows what it can query. It knows if it can only query delayed data, or if it can query live. It knows if it can query end of day history or intraday history. It has all those built in.
Cool.
And yeah, like you said, the big difference between the website and the dashboard Otto is that the website Otto can't query real-time information. The dashboard Otto can query it, but it's generally less familiar with the nuances of the API, and it's not extensible, and that's the big thing. So the CLI was built to be an extensible version of the API. So if you have other tools that you've been using in Claude, let's just say that you've taught it how to build a UI very, very well. Like you've installed a UI skill. You can pair that with the ORATS CLI to build a really nice personal trading UI. So it's just one of many examples that you can do with an agent that you can't really do in Otto because of its extensibility.
What I'm going to extensible is relative to your AI that you're using, right? And can you use chat, and can you use Claude, and can you use other ones, or how does that work?
Yeah, that's a good question. So ChatGPT, or I guess OpenAI would be the parent company. OpenAI has launched Codex, which is a AI agent similar to Claude Code. I like using Claude Code, and that's what I'll be using today. But this works just as fine with Codex, which is OpenAI's coding agent.
Cool. All right. So I think I get it. So the CLI is actually like you instantiate, or you tell it like, okay, ORATs, go look at ORATs, and you're probably going to do that, but then you compare that, or you actually combine it with what you know in Claude or your other AI, and then that's when the power of the ORATs data comes out. And I really think we've had a lot of growth lately. I think a lot of it's because the AIs are able to get at the powerful data that ORATs has.
Exactly, and the AI knows how to understand ORATs data, and because a agent is so powerful and extensible, you can take the ORATs data and do more things with it. It's not limited to what you can just do on the dashboard. Obviously, the dashboard is very functional, but let's just say that you had a trading API from a brokerage. There's a few different brokerages, like Trader included, that have APIs. So if you had that API set up and you taught Claude or Codex how to use that API, you could send orders straight through the terminal, or you could build yourself your own dashboard that sent orders to the terminal, or set up a loop that gave you a market briefing every day. Actually, that's what I'm going to demo today, is some of the capabilities at least within Claude Code, that really show the power. So I'm going to demo.
I interrupted you, so let's get to that. I just wanted to get a good intro for the people that aren't as technical, that haven't used CLI yet. You can use it. You can set it up. We have a good blog on it. But now, once you get that, then now this is once you've installed it. And what have you already instantiated ORATs? Or are you going to do that, Tyler?
Yeah, I've already installed ORATs. So I'm launching Claude right here through the Claude skip permissions mode. And then all I'm going to do, so I'm basically following the very brief instructions here. We're going to give you some more detailed instructions in the blog post, but I've installed it already. I've exported my token, and I've installed the skills. So it's all set up to go in Claude, and I can start making requests in there.
Cool.
So yeah, one thing that it's really good at is just answering any questions you have about what ORATs can do, as well as sort of technical questions involving like implied volatility, or what different options terminology means. So yeah, I want to start off by just saying, walk me through implied volatility, and then tell me which of SPY, QQQ, and IWM looks the most stressed right now. And to sort of start this off, we're initializing the ORATs skill by typing that /ORATs command at the beginning. So that in Claude, that's how you kind of tell it to use the ORATs skill. And yeah, it'll go on its way there. Any questions so far, Matt?
Yes, so no, that looks good. So you have to say /ORATs, and that tells, because Claude, you could ask it anything, right? And then, but yeah, we're specifically saying, hey, go use ORATs and then walk me through implied volatility. When you say walk me through, then it's going to try to answer, well, I'll explain what it means, and then we'll look at the actual indices that we're trying to get some information out of.
Exactly. So yeah, that was great. That's pretty much what it's doing here. So it's just explaining IV to us, why it moves, the surface, how to read stress. Had a really good insight here. There's no single field, you got to triangulate. So compare IV 30-day versus its own history, compare it versus the realized vol forecasts, and that's what we have at ORATS. You got to look at the term structure and the skew steepness. So I think that was a pretty good summary of IV. And then it was, then it said now to the indices, and it queries. This is the CLI command right here. So it's basically querying. You can see it's querying the delayed cores, passing in the tickers, passing in the fields that it's interested in, and yeah. Made us a nice little table right there.
And then it explains what the table means, which I like. So yeah. IWM is at 79, pretty close to in the IV percentile. So, and then I like how it explains it. So like this is what this is why I think it's been so successful with ORATS, is that we're able to use all this data against the questions that a user might have, and then even suggest these types of questions. ORATS has just an unbelievable database of all this data, and we've heard like in the past that there's so much there, it's so difficult to use. Now with AI and Claude and the CLI, we're able to now present this very quickly with a few keystrokes, and you can remember these types of questions, and then that helps guide guide the type of trading that you want to do, and you could even ask it what type of trading to do afterwards.
Yeah, that's a great way to sort of start off your session with Claude. If you don't know what to do, you can ask it what it's good at. The next thing I'm going to demo here is the memory capabilities. So Claude can remember things across different sessions. So if I end this session and then start a new session, it will remember stuff in memory. So I just told it to remember my watch list here. And it's funny, I was playing around with this yesterday and already had this in memory. So it already confirmed it. Watch list is already in memory, so I'll use it directly. So this is a really nice feature in Claude to just make, they've designed it so that Claude feels real personal. And I think it's a watch list is a great use of the memory capability.
So what does it do then? Like the fact that it has it in memory, so it remembers, yesterday or whatever. And then what does it do? Is it able to look at it compared to yesterday, or how does that work?
Yeah, we can compare things to yesterday. Mainly the purpose of the memory tool is in a totally new session. Let's just say I come back in a week, and I've quit this app or restarted my computer or all that. I can tell Claude, run the scan on my watch list, and it already has it in local memory. Yeah,
keep all the names up there. That's cool. Yeah, that's what I like. I like the IV30. I might use the IV30X earnings there, and you can probably tell it to change that, because IV30 that has earnings built in, but however 10 weeks, that's that's well beyond the 30 days, so it's not going to be much different. But because I'm looking at the 10 in AMD, for example, under earnings, so it's 10 weeks out. So the IV30 is going to be the same as the X earnings IV. So that's what that means. So, as most people know that trade these stocks, when earnings is coming up, the implied volatility goes way up. So there's zero delta there because all of these, have already reported earnings in this earnings season. But still, I think would be useful for you to have that in there. And because I like to look at earnings separately, meaning you look at the volatility without earnings, and then you look at the implied earnings effect. and you should be comparing those to different things. So you compare the implied earnings effect to the earnings that actually happen and the history of the implied earnings effects. And then you compare volatility with the X earnings volatility over time. So then you have a good comparison about where the volatility levels are.
Yeah, that's great insight, Matt. I think, and it's funny, I told it to do it, and then it said, let me save that as a preference.
Yeah.
So now every time I do an IV analysis in the future, it's going to use X earnings IV, even when the weeks to next earnings is more than a month away.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really like how it saves the memory. It kind of learns my preferences over time, which means that the more I use this, the more personal it's going to get, just by using it in an AI agent.
And the more improvements that you do like this, it will remember those, and then it's well honed after a while. Like sometimes when you're using like even our dashboard tool, sometimes you're like, oh yeah, I remember that I did that before. But Claude is like an agent, right? It's like having someone with you, like to help you trade. So that's really cool.
So now I'm going to kind of compare them side by side and kind of look at the top two, and then see which one's better. And then the next thing I think is really exciting. I'm excited to show you guys spawning a sub agent for each name on the screen. So I'll have each one write a one paragraph kind of summary, and then covering like IV rank, term structure, earnings risk, and then run them in parallel and save it as a morning briefing document. So kind of show the capabilities of the sub agents here. So I'll start writing that.
And what
do you think so far, Matt?
Yeah, it's great. So you could type even while it's working, which is nice.
Yeah, and you can send off. You can even queue up prompts too. So this is a really neat side-by-side comparison. It kind of shows you the power of just you can tell it exactly how you want to view things. If sometimes the dashboard or whatever other tool you're using might not show things exactly how you want it to show it, but with Claude you can kind of tell it, I want exactly this comparison.
And again, I would use the ORATS HV. It's using close to close, which is well known by people, but I would use the and you could tell that, and it will remember. Because that's really, you want to compare apples to apples. The close to close, this is a longer subject, and we've talked about it on prior videos, but ORATS has a different way of looking at realized volatility, or the actual statistical historical volatility in a stock. Close to close is the easiest one to calculate, and therefore the most popular, but it isn't the most accurate. When I was on the floor as a market maker and backing traders, we used to try to simulate which volatilities were actually happening in the pit, because we had a lot of gamma, so we were very tuned into how much we were making versus how much we were paying or selling volatility for. And the ORATS, it's a modified Parkinson method that we use in order to calculate realized volatility. So I would recommend using that, Tyler.
Sounds good. Yeah, I tacked that on at the end there, use the ORATS HV. So yeah, what it's doing now is using sub agents, which are a tool in Claude. Basically, it spawns different agents in parallel to tackle that task. So it's going to kind of write a briefing for different things at once, and it's kind of cool to see. I think it will.
Nice.
Kind of going. Yeah.
So what's a sub agent like? I mean, what's the difference between that and just asking it in line here?
It's faster. So if you have a lot more stuff, like let's just say that you're analyzing the S&P 500, you can have it create 500 sub agents and go and analyze 500 stocks all at the same time.
So it's just parallel computing.
Parallel computing.
Why don't we talk a little bit now about like the cost of using like an AI Claude and what you need to subscribe to in ORATS in order to get this going.
Yeah. So while our sub agents do some work here, this is what you'll need from ORAT. So you can go to the AI agents page, and then you can get your token from here. We have a delayed token, a live token, and a live intraday. So the intraday gives you intraday history going back to August 2020. The delayed and the live both have historical end of day data going back to 2007. So we recommend
the API, right? Like, so if API users could use the CLI right away, and you could also use this for an API, which is to say you could use it in other programs. So yeah, so this is, you know, this is our same pricing for individuals for APIs. So what about Claude?
Yeah, Claude. The Claude pricing, you just go to claude.ai, and then you can get the pricing from there. It's ranges from $20 a month to $200 a month, depending on how much of it you use. And it's pretty easy to install Claude Code. We have installation. They have installation instructions on their website, and then we mentioned briefly how to do that. And then once it's installed, it's as simple as exporting your ORATS token and downloading the skills, and then it's all wired into Claude by default.
So you do that after you've installed Claude, right?
Yeah, you can do it before or after.
Okay. And so, you know, obviously if you're running a lot of sub agents, you know, do you have to upgrade the Claude after a while, probably, I would imagine.
Sub agents will use up a little bit more of the Claude code.
Parallel stuff. So
your insight there, Matt, of using the ORATS HV definitely helped it out a little bit there. It said ORATS HV is the right call here. Close to close, massively overstated AMD's realized because the stock had been trending intraday.
Yep.
Large close to close gap, smaller intraday range. So there you have it. So it wrote a briefing document. I'm going to open this doc and kind of go through it. We don't have to go through like the whole detail, but you can kind of see what it's doing here. It used the watch list to run our premium selling scan using the ORATS CLI and the ORATS data. And it wrote a brief summary of each one. And then it told us today's read. Nothing is screaming sell. Microsoft is the best of the bunch, high percentile, cushion over realized, clean event calendar. AMD second on optical richness, but the backwardation argues for short dated and tight. So, you know, now that we have that, kind of the last thing that I wanted to demo was, let's just say you've gone back and forth with Claude and you have a really great morning briefing that you want to run on a daily basis. You could set up a schedule and run it once a day.
Could I interrupt you?
Yeah.
So backwardation, a lot of people don't know exactly what that means. Is there a way that you could kind of like clarify backwardation and what is that, you know, and why would you do short term potentially, you know, like, you know, if you don't understand something, this is a great way to have it explained. And I guess also, does it use ORATS information to help explain that?
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, if you ever have any questions, Claude is a great. This is another reason why I love using these AI agents. Is it explains things to me very clearly, and if I have any follow-up questions or I want examples, then I can use the ORATS CLI with it. So it explained what it was.
That's the ORATS. That's cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How to spot it in ORATS. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. All right. So let's go on to what I interrupted you. So let's go on to your next point here. Oh, the schedule.
Yeah. If you type the slash, so the slash commands are how you invoke certain things in Claude. Like we did /ORATS at the beginning of the session. If you type /schedule right now, you can create, update, list, or run scheduled remote agents that execute on a cron schedule. So this is really neat because I can say schedule, and now I can just type what I want to schedule.
What does cron mean?
It means basically it's a background job.
Okay.
So it's something that runs on your machine in the background. In this case, it's going to run on a remote Claude server.
Nice.
Yeah,
I assume that it's just going to make another document like it did above, and then it'll just tell you about that. Is that how it delivers the data? Or I guess
yeah,
right.
Yeah, it can make another document, but that probably wouldn't be that useful, right? So let's have it send me an email.
Yeah.
So let's just say make the morning briefing 30 minutes before each open, then send an email to orats.com with the morning briefing. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, it's just the schedule thing is really powerful because you can schedule scans, you can schedule all that kind of stuff.
And everyone gets busy, so it's nice to have things right in your email.
Yeah. Well, I'm curious to see how this email capability works actually.
I wonder if you have to install a different email server with it, or if Claude has that.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, and that's the thing. That's the extensibility of it, right? If I don't have something installed yet, I'm sure Claude will tell me exactly what I need to do to make it work.
Yeah, cool.
Here we go. Won't have the local ORATS CLI install or token. Well, that is good information. So yeah, it sounds like, so if you want to run the schedule, you're going to have to run it on your local machine. So the way you can do that is with the loop command. I was a little bit ambitious with the schedule, but the loop, you type in the time frame, like 1 day, and then you type in what you want, and then as long as the computer's on, it will run that.
Yeah, because you'd have to, if it ran with the schedule on their servers, you would have to have ORATS installed on their servers.
Right, and it did give me a few different options there. It said you can pass the token in prompt, or kind of do a few different things. But yeah, I mean, and that's the great thing about this is you kind of through trial and error, kind of figure out the best way to do what you want, right? Like we're figuring out how to send me an email with this morning scan. And it's just really great how you can kind of be like, all right, let's try this. And then if that doesn't work, let's try this. And you can kind of just keep going until it works.
And this is one of the things that we could help users out. One of the things that we want to build is a kind of Claude Lite on the ORATS dashboard. And we can then run, probably schedule, right? Because we know we have our own environment that has access to APIs. So we might be able to do something like this, Tyler.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, we do want to improve the capabilities of Otto in the dashboard so that we get more to this level. And there's a lot of cool things we can do in the dashboard that you can't do in here. Like, we can show you, we can go to the different tabs and interact with the tabs because they're in the dashboard. But yeah, I mean, I think this is the CLI is a great starting point if you are familiar with Claude, especially if you have Claude Code already installed or you want to try it out. I think it's a great way to start getting with the data and learning it. So yeah, it looks like yeah, here's what happened. So it created the background job. which is great. So this will run our scan. It failed to draft the email. So yeah, it looks like I just have to reauthorize email there, and then it should do it.
Lovely, nice. All right, cool. Well, we should wrap it up. That was a great show, Tyler.
Yeah, thanks for all your questions, Matt. Let's see if I can. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I think that was great, and thanks for all your questions and yeah, letting me do the demo. It's one of my favorite new products that we have. We've got lots of new stuff happening at ORATS. We just launched the historical data hard drives, which we've been shipping out. So if you guys need bulk historical data, you can go look at those, and lots of great things coming down the pipeline too. So really exciting.
Yeah, thanks, Tyler.
All right, thanks, Matt, and thank you, Trader, for hosting. If you guys have any questions, please reach out to us at support@orats.com or use Otto in the dashboard or website for any quick questions you guys have. And we'll see you guys again next week. Thanks, Matt. Thanks.
You know how the financial world goes. Here comes the buzzkill. Please make sure to take some time to read this boring disclaimer. We will owe you one.